Alright, so when you think of the word bootleg, yeah, I'm standing up now. When you think of the word bootleg, the first thing you think of are like random street knockoffs that you find on like swap meets or whatever. Or, AliExpress knockoffs that are trying really hard to be real. Or when you think of the word bootleg, you think of this thing that high school athletes wear for an entire calendar year because they took the wrong step in practice or whatever, and now they're handicapped for 4 quarters. Why? Honestly, there's been always a lot of stigma around the word bootleg and how it's used in fashion. But in reality, I feel like it's never been more gray as to what's good and bad. But with all the obvious bad, there's a lot of cool, creative, and honestly, cheap and affordable ways to get unique pieces out there that people just undermine because they just think of the AliExpress. And as someone that's found gold and as someone that's been screwed over multiple times when it comes to bootleg fashion, I'll be here to draw the line so that you too can have cool, creative, one-of-a-kind pieces that make crowds go, yo, where to cop, fam? Yo, fam, where to cop? Yo, that's kind of hard, fam. Where to cop. And like I said, the word bootleg kind of goes anywhere, so I'm going to break it down into the 3 major means of bootlegging, and that's UA, or unofficial authentic, aka fake news. And then we got parody and referencing, and then over here we got customs. So we're going to start with the most obvious form of bootlegging, and that's UA. And this is what usually people think of when you hear the word bootleg, but I don't think is where you should stop. All right, so you know what? We're gonna start with a game. Okay, so I've had this Supreme box logo hoodie for 5 years. I've had it since the summer of 2015. I rocked the hell out of it in my glory days, and I got the ego boost that my straight out of high school self was looking for. Honestly, I felt pretty good wearing it. I'm not even gonna try to hide it, and it was the first piece that really made my butt pucker when I had to pay resale. Okay, now the game part. So looking at this, using your brain and context clues, do you think this is a real Supreme box logo hoodie? I'll give you a couple seconds and a good look to legit check me. So go ahead. Here you go. Wow, look at this. Look at this. Stitching, floating E, tag reel. I don't know. And curveball. It is a real hoodie. I was just trying to flex on you losers. I'm just kidding, it's fake. Look at it. I mean, if you can't tell it's fake, I sure as hell couldn't. It's a good fake, I think. I don't know. The whole time I was rocking it, I was completely convinced it was real. Bought it on Grailed from an active seller and just never looked back. And now one person called me out, and I got just as much flex and heat out of it as the real hoodie would have gotten me. Only reason I know it's fake is because I have a friend who's just a real Supreme nerd, and he just saw it and knew it was fake. But other than that, no one knew. You guys didn't even know. And it sounds like I'm glorifying fakes, but I promise I'm not. I'm just sharing an experience. And the only reason I got good wear out of it is because I didn't know it was fake, Truth is, the majority of people that buy fakes are super self-conscious of being called out in public and just being embarrassed. Like imagine going to a grocery store and you're in line, and then you think the reason that the baby in the cart is staring at you is because that 3-year-old child thinks that your third batch real Bapesta Boost Yeezys are fake. And now you're paranoid in the grocery store line. That's not life, guys. That's just a perpetual game of Among Us. And you're the imposter. Imagine being sus of yourself. I don't like that. And I know these stories are real because I used to read the Reddit posts. I thought they were hilarious. And just to top it all off, it's just not right. Literally, it's illegal. This is an illegal act, guys. I mean, but we don't really like the feds anyways, so I'm just gonna leave this up to you. I'm not gonna snitch. But you might snitch on yourself. I mean, look at this baby. Are you wearing fakes? But just personally not a fan of ripping something off one-to-one, but I definitely see why people do it. I mean, I was people. I used to do that. I used to buy reps in high school to flex on my friends, who now that I think about it more, were also buying reps. So I have no idea what was going on there. We're just lying to ourselves. We were the AliExpress. and we were all the cabooses. But currently not a fan of this type of bootlegging, but I don't know, you be the judge here. All right, so moving on to the next means of bootlegging, we got referencing and parody. This is when someone or a brand references or makes their own variation of an iconic piece or style without the intention of fooling the buyer into thinking it's the real thing. That's the main agenda point that separates it from UA. Just remixing all the best and notorious parts of something and just giving it a good old contemporary spin. I like to think of it like sampling in music. You know, if it's done right, it changes your whole perspective on something, but if it's done wrong, it's just boring and derivative. Personally, this is my favorite because it opens up a lot of potential combinations of like two different worlds that people love. It's like one of the most famous one is this, the Bapesta, which is an obvious reference to the Air Force One, but it takes the classic silhouette and incorporates a lot of this Japanese street color to make it just give it a different flavor, you know? Look at this, it's interesting. And it's obviously you're referencing. Or the legendary calm the down hat that everyone had in 2014. Come on, guys, this is a piece of history. And personally, one of my favorites doing this right now is Ruff Simmons. It's an obvious parody of Raph Simmons, but like I said, referring back to the combining of the two worlds that people love, it takes the iconic history and design of Raph Simmons while incorporating the art direction of Evangelion, two things that I absolutely love. Just look at this tattoo. I have this tattoo, and then look at this sweater that I'm wearing. And then in my living room, I have this big ass piece of art right here that's taller than me. And you know, I just really love what they're doing. They're really just pushing the envelope for what's good and wearable in contemporary fashion. And with the obvious good comes a lot of obvious bad. Like this with the Revenge Storm, dude, I am just not a fan, and you will never be able to change my, you know what? Let me get in the way. I don't want you guys looking at this. I will never be a fan of this. You can never change my mind. It's obvious why this is bad. Never a fan. You can't convince me. But I really think this style of bootleg is picking up a lot of traction in the modern fashion zeitgeist, and I think you should hop on. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. You should have fun with it. And then moving on to the last means of bootlegging, we got the coolest one and also the grayest one, customs. And I say cool because there's some nasty looking customs out there, like with what the shoe surgeon is doing for just like alternative colorways and schemes of like hype shoes. I think this is so sick. Or what a bunch of these designers are doing with like reused fabrics from like Louis Vuitton and all the stuff, like what they do for Billy, and like this stuff is so cool. I love this stuff too. Or to even wilder stuff, like remaking pieces with like just wild materials, like this sponge Prada sling bag or what, like I don't even know. I would totally wear this. Or the stuff that Nicole McLaughlin does with like reused fabrics and garments. Like this is what gets me excited, and I never get the vibe that they're ripping anything off. One of my favorites doing this is Bent Gable Knits, which takes like vintage Nike sweaters and just adds this new twee made by my grandma style thing. I don't know, it's like there's flowers, there's a lot of play with the different fabrics and textures. Like I just want to cuddle with this Nike logo, you know? Like it's like a stuffed animal on a sweater. I don't know. It just adds a whole new dimension of charm there, you know? But like I said, this is a very gray area because with all the cool stuff going out there, you have an equal amount of Make-A-Wish, unauthorized authentics looking pieces that are just struggling, you know? It's like fashion on life support looking type beat. Like I have mixed feelings when people paint on their Yeezys. I mean, it's art at the end of the day, but personally, I feel like it almost red bubbles the Yeezys. I don't know. And when people paint their Jordans to make it look like more expensive colorways, not the biggest fan either of this. There are even people repainting their Rick Dunks to look like more expensive colorways. I don't think I'm a fan of this red bubble custom work. But honestly, I think making stuff personal and unique is really the future of fashion. I think everyone agrees on that. That's why vintage is so big and why archive is so big. We're straying away from highly commodified, oversaturated fast fashion. And I think making customs is a good step in that direction. Just don't make this step. Not a fan of the Los Santos customs fashion part of making customs. Get your shoes off life support, and you can learn pretty much everything you need to learn with the sponsor of this video, Skillshare.com. Skillshare.com, everybody. Skillshare. Look at this bootleg transition. Skillshare's the best place to learn anything with thousands of professionally taught online classes. You can learn whatever you want to learn. Personally, I've been doing a lot of Lightroom tutorials, because I've been trying to get back into photos because it's getting cold, and New York in the winter and fall looks really cool. I'm trying to take advantage and look good on social media. I've been using this one by Sean Dalton because I have a lot of projects going on and I want a specific aesthetic for each one. And honestly, after washing enough, I realized it's actually not that hard, and being an Instagram influencer is not a real job. But you could also pick up something spontaneous. Like, I've been learning how to cook. Look at me go. Look at me chop. I actually messed up my finger. I don't know if you can see that, but I actually cut my finger cooking. But it's no problem. But look at all these courses. You can also not cut your thumb if you just learn how to do properly on Skillshare.com. For a limited amount of time, all my subscribers that click the link will get 2 months free. You get 2 months free, and then after the 2 months free, it's less than $10 a month on an annual plan. So go sign up for Skillshare now. Go learn Lightroom, be an Instagram influencer, or go learn how to cook and nick your finger like me. I'm watching you. Thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring the video. So thanks for watching the video, and I hope this made you more inclined to look into bootlegs and open your perspective on fashion, because I think this is a really cool, understated, over-stigmatized part that people should really open up their eyes to. And the final Respect Women capsule coming out on the 23rd, just 2 weeks away from now. And bam, look at this. This is a design. Sick. Here's the hoodie alternative. The details are insane. Like, this is the graphic that it's derived from. I worked on it with my boy Nikita Iziev, who's just crazy. I don't know how he does it. I feel like the concept pretty much speaks for itself. Profits are being donated to rain.org. I feel like you can fill in the blanks there. There's a problem here in America, and you'll see this on body. The next video, when I get the samples in proper, it's printed on Champion, so you guys are gonna love it. You better be there. It's the last one. I didn't make that many of them because it's the last one. I want it to feel special. October 23rd, be there. I better see you. New episode of the podcast is out, and there are tons of memes coming from it already. You guys are really taking this far, and I love it. Sydney has a sugar mommy. I don't know. You got to ask yourself that question. Go tune in and figure out what the answer is. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video. These are my socials. If you love this, thank you for coming to my quarantine stand-up set.